Hello, our friends, Evolutionary, EEARTS, Heart's Home, family.
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome, guys. And so I hope you are subscribed to all three channels. Again, each one has unique stuff going up. Everything goes up on Patreon, and we have some unique Patreon-only material that goes up as well. And we keep moving forward with that over there, as it seems like we're not getting any sort of blowback about talking about really anything over there. So that's good. I know at one point in time there was some of the big C that went on over at Patreon, but we haven't experienced anything ourselves, and we're thankful for that.
Super thankful, super thankful. And along with those gratitudes, we want to say a huge thank you to Tori, Joni, and Richard.
Those are our three newest patrons, so thank you guys again for your support. Here we see an explosion and a large fire broke out at a homeless encampment in downtown Seattle. Again, fires everywhere. Absolutely. We are in the midst of a very, very chaotic time right now. And again, this is really... it certainly is not last call for alcohol. It's last call for preps, really. Getting yourself as prepared as you possibly can be, and that includes spiritually as well.
Well, there is quite a buildup of things and situations in people's lives that's going on. A lot of tests, a lot of trials. It's very difficult. Today feels a little awkward because it's almost like there's this pause going on today, like pause before something else happens, not sure what, but I can tell you my insides know, they're just not telling me.
Yeah, the spidey senses are tingling, so to speak. Well, Fednow is live, and the framework is in place for CBDCs. Everything is, it's ready. And, again, they've done this incrementally. They've done it in stages. They have not slowed down, even though, I don't know, what do you think? 25, 30% of the population? I don't know. Okay, let me put this out there. Can you guys answer me and leave it in the comments? What portion of the population in your home country area is really awake to what's going on? What do you really think it is? Is it still so low? I mean, I would say if we went back to pre 9/11, I don't even know if we had 2% that really understood the bigger picture. As things have evolved, especially since, say, 2017, I think there's been a much greater awakening. Where are we at? And where do you think that critical point is where the dam breaks and it all collapses?
Well, one thing that I noticed we are seeing is in households, people have maybe their partner is kind of on board, or maybe they have a son or a daughter that's on board. So the percentage I see is going up.
It does seem to be going up. To me, it seems like it's going up, and certainly that's good. But then again, it feels like they have all their infrastructure in place right now, and they're just, it's like lining up the dominoes and then triggering it. Well, it feels like all the dominoes are lined up at the moment.
It sure does.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fednow is live, and we could transfer all our money to our heart's content via the Federal Reserve. Again, the Federal Reserve, the big thing, there was one video we did, 2017, November, I think it was 2017. And it was talking about the reality of the Fed Reserve. And they stopped the views at 86. And, they've since let it roll up to like 600. And it's not out there right now. I have it marked private because of the strikes that they gave to Evolutionary. But again, 86 means something is off the menu. And Cindy told me, that means something's off the menu. So in other words, you're not to talk about this because it's such a key point to all their plans, at least for the U.S. But again, anything that's going on in the U.S. is going on in other places as well. China produces more toxic pollution. I was reading one stat today than the rest of the industrialized world combined. And yet, the keys to the house, so to speak, are being given to China. That tells you how much they really care, truly, about the environment and Mother Earth. It's all about the system. And if you're going to buy into, and again, they're going to keep rolling this out, and they're just going to do it so that many people won't even notice. Again, what do you do most of your purchases with? Most people now, it's not cash. It's certainly not silver or gold or bartering and trading, unfortunately. It's, again, you whip out the card, you use the card. So, they've gotten us used to that. And then the next point is, obviously, your social credit score. And or maybe it'll be, as this article talks about, maybe it'll be a case of, you said something on Facebook. I know you have 10,000 in your account. Well, it's now 9,500. You're being penalized $500 or £500 for that comment. They can go this route. I think they absolutely plan to go this route.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that happens. They really know the laws of life, how when you want to really get someone, you kind of go after the pocketbook. That's the favored way for them.
So in this article from Zero Hedge at the end, Fednow is live at 35 banks across the country. Of course, it's all the bigger ones, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo. And they say, well, what can you do? Again, they talk about having physical assets. If you are lucky enough to have some ability to purchase land and buy land. And, again, that is something that is tangible. Have everything that you would possibly need stocked up. And again, beyond food, have a redundancy and certainly detoxifying water. As we know, there's all sorts of stuff up in the clouds that make their way down into the water we drink. And I was looking at how do you get rid of GO, the black goo, GRA, and then it's followed by a PHENE, and then the O, I know I tried to spell it out as much as possible without getting any more demonized. And, it's not even certain that it could be removed from water. But the suggestions that I saw was reverse osmosis, possibly distillation, but maybe not. Again, and it is also coming down now in the rain. So, redundancy and all things you can. They're recommending supplies, food, tools. How about tools that are not necessarily power tools? Long-term preps. Think years out, precious metals, land. Because, again, this is, it's something that we're in this, and it's a marathon. This is a marathon. And again, somebody made a comment yesterday, and they didn't get the idea from our channel. They said, well, isn't the Galactic Federation, didn't they remove all the bad guys last year? Oh, talk about something that makes you go, ugh. Yeah, no. We would never say that because, again, the Galactic Federation, the real Galactic Federation, doesn't operate that way. If somebody from the Galactic Federation comes in to affect this plane, they come into a body and affect it from the inside. They don't affect it from the outside so much with the technology up on the fifth density. No, again, there is far more channels out there and entities out there that have infiltrated in every way, shape, and form. And they are absolutely, many times, giving 90% authentic information that is accurate, sometimes 80, sometimes 70, sometimes 50. But the thing is, they will give some information that's accurate with distortion, purposeful distortion. One of those things is, hey, the white horses and the good guys, they're right around the corner, or they've already done this. I saw one that was talking about the South Africa blast, and somebody commented, yeah, they took out a deep underground bunker. That's the bad guys going toast. Dream on. That's not the case. And as much as we want it to be the case, that's not the case. That's the dark side, again, trying to get us to be complacent. And so they know the human tendency is we want somebody to come do this for us. But no, it's got to be done by us. Yet at the same time, we have to do things in such a way that we don't become like the controllers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we really do. But that's what that separation of energies is for. The white hats are not going to come and take care of it. And if they are in control, then this is really quite concerning if they're in control, because we just keep losing our rights and losing our freedoms day after day after day.
Yeah, if they are in control, then they're not truly white hats.
Right.
It's just pretty simple.
Right. That's so true. And that's something that we've been saying for a long time. We have to start within. We have to start with ourselves. I know it's a very challenging time for many people, but understand this time is probably getting you prepared for doing things in your life a different way. People might be falling out of your life. It might be extremely painful. But there's a purpose to it all, and it's difficult, but you got to try to find that trust, and that trust, so many people's trust has been broken by the controllers, by the leadership, saying, well, we're going to do this, and then nothing ever happens. So how are you supposed to just trust that, the higher vibrations have your back? It takes time, and it takes seeing it over and over and over, that if this thing did or didn't happen, well, I wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't be there. It just takes a lot of contemplation, sitting with self, and trusting.
Absolutely. Sita agrees, by the way. BRICS leaders to discuss sustainable payment mechanism. Yeah. They have been talking about gold-backed currency. Well, that sounds reasonable to most people. And again, it will be CBDC. And in fact, I feel that the new system comes through BRICS. And of course, it's going to be the same system, that's being pushed. Again, we just saw Xi with Kissinger. And, again, you can see Xi with Klaus. I mean, he is just basically the next step, the next stage in what they're rolling out. And now Putin says Poland wouldn't hesitate to occupy parts of Western Ukraine. And, again, this is obvious. This is the next step. When does this happen? Again, I would say the chances increase as we head towards the fall. It just feels that way. I think the fall is going to be a very challenging period where we will see escalations going on. And we might not make it technically out of summer before things expand over there in Europe. As we see Germany's AfD party. Now, this is a party that is against all the migrants and migration patterns that we see. Hits record 19%. Yeah, the reality is that might be 29, 39, 49. Again, the numbers that they give us, we can't trust any numbers from any source because you got to look deeper and follow the figures. Of course, they want to downplay all these things to a degree, absolutely. But all the countries that we see on the globe, they're always being reworked. Again, the borders are constantly changing. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. Nation states are tools. And if we are talking about the true power structure, corporations are more powerful than nations. And then the secret societies that control the corporations are more powerful than that. And the power structure goes on up the line. Woman struck by meteorite as she sat on her terrace in East France. The rock bounced off the roof of her house and hit her in the chest. Luckily, she wasn't hurt. That's interesting. And again, some things that we see and they tell us are meteorites and stuff may very well be a ship that's blown up or a ship that's going to hyperspace. We've never, again, been alone. And they have no choice in these times because, we are going to be seeing more and more, obviously, intelligently controlled vehicles and beings out in the open. It's just part of what happens when we go into the Bronze Age, which we are in, according to Sri Yukteswar. Yeah, we've been in the Bronze Age for several hundred years now, but it still basically is the dark control system that controls the minds of the masses. But that is also not going to always be the case for the totality of the world as we look at these massive floods going on in India. And this is a hailstorm in Milan, Italy. Look at that. Yeah, we are seeing wicked weather. And I think you do get a truth from the Bible per se, where it says, God was irritated. Well, again, the mighty ones. Yeah, look to what it actually translates to, because if we take it at the real translation, then we're talking about, for one, more than one being, where you see Lord and God. It's really it's more accurate to describe it as the mighty ones get mad or angry with humanity and they send disasters. Well, yeah, technology. They have technology. 62 new forest fires ignite across Greece, evacuations underway in West Attica, Laconia, and Rhodes. So, the fires are still going on in Canada, and there's stuff in the smoke that, according to everybody I'm talking to, doesn't smell like wood. And it's definitely something that irritates the lungs and gives headaches. Now, over here in Michigan, you had massive hail as well. It caused over 100,000 people to lose power, and a lot of people go to the emergency rooms because they were getting pounded and beaten up by this hail. This is really crazy what we're seeing. But again, all this can be manipulated through technology. Are there natural cycles? Absolutely, there are natural cycles. But there is also technology that can intensify these natural cycles, as we see 7 killed in Bhutan, as floods wash away part of a hydropower plant. Well, there you go. Again, there is some sort of war going on energy and food. Don't you think? It really certainly seems that there might be. I don't think this is all just acts of God, as in the creator of this universe. No. Acts of, technology, extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings. Oh, yeah.
Well, if it's just the Earth, she's very good at targeting specific things like food and targeting specific things like energy and just, tearing up stuff. It just all seems a little too targeted for me.
Absolutely. But again, with that Pfizer building, that might have been one from the good guys there. Schumann resonance is relatively quiet at 32. That's what it feels like. There's a pregnant pause, so to speak. So we see it's been fairly quiet last 24 hours on Earth. We did have a 3.1 M-class solar flare detected at 3:36 UTC. Isolated flares possible. KP is just slightly over 2. So, nothing huge there. And here you see in total we have 217 quakes. And again, that's nothing really big. And there really is nothing really big. I mean, the biggest one we're looking at is a 5.5. And when we go here and we take out all magnitudes and we just look at the decent sized ones, again, it's really quiet. We do have one up in eastern Montana, 3.2, 2.6 California over here. This is even smaller. Well, no, 2.8. It looks like it's smaller. Petrolia, it's quiet. It is quiet. It's kind of ominously quiet on the earthquake front. So this is Andrew G. Huff. He wrote a book, The Truth About Wuhan. Yeah. And here you see that he caught somebody broke into they've tapped into his computer many times remotely, and then somebody physically went in his house as well. And he is somebody that understands computers well enough to look at the log and see that, this is obvious. This is what we've talked about many times. I mean, we've been hacked more times than we can say. And how can you out hack the government? Again, we have like 5 microphones now, and we have multiple computers that we've bought, and it doesn't really so much matter. It just slows them down, and then they do what they do. And certainly we cannot match the government when it comes to ability to manipulate technology.
No, we can't. And really, I don't want to. I just want to keep moving away from it more and more and more, to the best of my ability. Sometimes we need technology like to do the things that we're doing now. If you're not very good at identifying the plants around your house, they have apps for that. But you learn the information and then you let go of the technology. I think what they count on is that you grab onto the technology and then you always need it. You're never able to really set it down ever again. You just depend on it. But we can't be that way. We cannot be complacent that way. We utilize it for what we need it for, and then we let it go. And I think if you keep going on that pattern, slowly but surely you start to peel away from depending on that technology. And let's not forget our elders. Oh my gosh, are these people important? Those who ran the farms when we were younger. We need their stories. We need their knowledge. We need their everything. We need their patience. We need to learn from them. We need to write books from them. We need to sit with them and talk with them and see, how did you do things? If you have chickens, did you know something called candling? That I learned from my grandfather. And when you know these things, it's like you can automatically go out and at least you can get a foothold. You can get a foothold if you go out and buy a farm. You have some information if you have somebody that's older to go to talk to. And also, let's not forget they're more advanced. The evolutionary process in an older person, the DNA has unraveled to a degree where they can see things from a higher perspective. Now, I'm not saying all elderly people, but many, many, many have so much to offer. I think we're just too busy in life and we just look past.
Absolutely. So this is a huge floating prison for migrants that entered the country illegally. A floating prison where they'll be fed somebody, I don't know if they were half joking or not, fed a diet of crickets and et cetera, et cetera. Yes. To me, this looks very ominous any way you look at it. You can move this anywhere, and it reminds me of the cell cities that they are, in the process of getting everybody used to the concept of these 15-minute cities. It sounds like a great concept for anybody that wants to be an urbanite. Everything is right there. You just walk to work, you walk home. Yeah, but again, when we remote view and look at what things look like, and again, Cindy and I have done the remote viewing and also the channeling. Again, we don't really exist to bring the news, and what we're doing is we're and in many cases we wish we didn't even have to talk about the news, but we want to clarify things for people that don't understand what's really going on. We would love to just focus on the spiritual side of things and how the universe works, and bring through more knowledge of the sort that's not allowed to be openly spoken and taken seriously. But again, I think it's powerful to give the news and then to give the perspective of what we see really going on behind the story. And we will put together, and those that have followed us, like Keith, for instance, Keith in Rhode Island. I mentioned it as don't get mad at Keith now. He's a good guy. Keith has been through a lot too. He's fought the big C, and so many of you out there have fought big, tough. What modern mainstream medical would often give as things that, hey, you just have to accept. Sorry, that's just the way it is. No, it's not the way it is. Again, this is part of the big reveal. We can have miracles. And our beloved KK was sharing with us yesterday, because when we're not doing videos, we're actually talking to many of you guys. We do spiritual coaching, we do energy work, We do Vedic astrology charts and help people understand, their purpose that they put out for themselves in this life through, what time you jumped into this world. And you could even learn things like, well, did you achieve the purpose in the last life from looking at your Vedic astrology charts? And then Cindy is a very, very gifted channel and intuitive. So, that could bring in information from your guides and from loved ones as well that have passed on to the other side, because it doesn't end when we leave this body. No, and a good analogy is what Cindy was giving me. It's actually like when we leave the body, it's like, okay, the play is over, and now all the actors and actresses come out and bow and say, hey, welcome home. Wasn't that something? What did you get from that?
I know that was something that I've always seen. It's really quite an emotional vision for me whenever I go back to look at it. It's just something I don't want to tell people that in any way minimize their experience here on 3D, because all the emotions that we have, all of the lessons that we have learned, that is all ours, and it's ours to the nth degree. Every lesson is so very important, and it should be cherished and honored, even those lessons that hurt, even the ones that really, really hurt. And those are the ones that we tend to want to push back, push away. But those are the ones that we really need to sit with, and we need to figure out what was I needing to know? What was I trying to learn? And then understanding the world that we live in it's such a reflective mirror, down to the people we talk to the pets that we own. And sometimes people aren't ready to see certain things in themselves, and that's okay. It's not our place to help anyone see anything. It's our place to live our life and figure out what we came here to do. It is very much, in so many ways, it is a I, me paradigm here in the 3D. At the same time, we are bringing in all of this other information to bring ourselves expansion. It's really quite a beautiful thing, but I wouldn't expect any less from the creator of this universe.
Absolutely. So what are the odds that these three teenage friends grow up to lead 3 countries? What do you think? 3 girls that are teenage friends? Yeah, Angela Merkel, Theresa May, and, those odds are not too good unless, people are groomed from a very young age according to, again, their ties. Yes, this is part of the big unraveling that we're seeing. Oh, George Michael's going to be touring. Wait, didn't he pass on? Yeah, he did, but they're going to bring back him as a holograph. Again, hologram, now they're really trying to give us, and I've seen them do this before. Didn't they do this at one of the Super Bowls, a halftime show? I thought they did something like that. Again, this is just part of the big reveal. It's part of the big reveal. Oh, yeah. Here's a little part of the big reveal. Let's see. Do we have this full bore? Here he is.
First of all, thanks for.
I'm the AI is what he says. I'm the AI. Yeah. I mean, again, there's so many different Bidens. Again, we've gotten that the real original Biden has been gone for a while, and I know there was somebody that came out and said that they were his niece or something, and that he had passed on, and then they debunked that through their official debunking teams. But the reality is, there's multiple going on, and what are they really? Would you be surprised to find out that maybe some of these really are what we would call, I don't know, androids, robots, cyborgs? I mean, maybe there is a little pseudo flesh on there, but it's just a program that tends to glitch sometimes.
Yeah, it's understanding that these technologies are here and, not being so shocked by it, because again, this is a cycle we go through. We reach this point. We are like literally in the dark in so many ways. Technologically, we only see what they want us to see. Emotionally, they only tell us about our emotions and how to utilize them the way they want us to utilize them. There's very little, there's very little teaching about really what our emotions are used for, and they are so important. It's key to be able to control them and understand them. Otherwise, these emotions, they get thrown out there to the ether, and guess what? They're somebody's food. So we need to learn how to control ourselves and our emotions. Those are ours. Really, those are ours, and they are being exploited to a high degree. But it's about figuring out where you are here and then walking this path for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, each one of these red dots is a mound builder site, and you can see there's so many red dots you probably can't even count them. There's thousands of mound builder sites, and there are more bodies of giants that they've found, dug up, and the Smithsonian has just buried at sea. They've gotten rid of them one way, shape, or form. But we've talked about news articles that talk about this. And, being that I'm close to that 6-0, I remember decades and decades ago as a kid looking and doing research on this. And it was fascinating to me then. It's fascinating to me now. Our history is not what we've been told. It's very much like George Orwell's 1984, where every day it's being revised. Every day it's being revised. Constant revision. And as you get older, you start to recognize, well, they told us this growing up, and now they're telling us something very different. Just recently, they told us the universe is twice as old as they thought. That's a big miss. Sorry, guys, your science doesn't cut it. These elongated skulls, this is unearthed in Iran. We find the exact same skulls over in Peru and in Bolivia. By the way, at some point in time before we leave the physical body, I want to get down there because I've just been dying to feel the energy down there in these areas. Yeah, this is not, and they'll tell us, well, they put boards on this head as a baby, and they elongated it because it was a sign of beauty. No. Yeah, some of them are, but other ones, no, because they have different number of cranial plates. We have different bones. We have the sphenoid, the parietal, it's different. And where the spinal cord, the foramen magnum goes in, it's different. It's not Homo sapiens. These are a different species. And we find them in different parts of the world. How did they get all the way over in the Black Sea area and in South America if they didn't have some technology to get around? And we also know from DNA tests that again, they are interrelated. It's because our history is bunk, complete bunk. We've been totally lied to every step of the way, even about consciousness. And, we might view a mouse or a rat as just something that's horrible and negative. But the reality is, the consciousness in that rat, in that mouse, may choose to experience itself at some point in time as a human, and it could.
Mm-hmm. Everything has consciousness. We're all here together. Everything is here, to have its own experience. Yet we are all one. So that's another one that's kind of difficult to wrap your head around, as well as there is no time. And there's layers and layers and layers of consciousness that we get to unravel and we get to walk through. And it really truly is about understanding yourself, knowing what makes you tick. Because once you're able to understand that, then the things that we have to navigate in this life are a little less difficult.
Yes, absolutely. So again, guys, we want to thank everybody for their support in these times, because the way that the control grid works is they try to starve us out, those that will expose the control grid for what it is. So if you view us as a little bit more than just news, then come join us over on Patreon. And we appreciate your support. Again, just for $1 a month, you'll get material over there that we won't have up anywhere else. And again, it is something that does help support us and enable us to spend most of our conscious waking hours, when not doing our spiritual work, just basically doing this and trying to bring you guys an understanding and a realization of what's going on from a spiritual point of view.
Indeed.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.